Hi, this is Michael and Xbot. Welcome to Xplore Xpeng.
Hey, that's my line.
Yes, but I deliver it so much better.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, if you're that clever, let's see how much you understand. How many commands can you actually action? Xbot's already shown you what it can do. Well, there's a little X combo that I wrote to do that. Now, it's quite difficult finding out exactly what commands it understands. There's only a few examples in the manual. There's been some documents published by users in the past, but obviously we've had a lot of updates since then. There's a lot more commands that it can now action. So I've tried to go through the whole system, experimented with different commands to see exactly what it can and can't do. And I've found well over 100 different commands that it will activate. So I've got my list, lots of notes here, so let's get into it. So right now, the Xbot, which I'm not sure if that's its official name, but that's what I'm going to call it, it can understand certain commands. It's not an AI voice assistant yet. It's starting to delve into that a little bit with the latest update, but there's certain commands it can understand and action, and others that it can't. We have been told that the future development will be into an AI version, so it's going to be able to do a lot more things and you're going to be able to converse with it about things in general, find things out on the internet. But for now, with software update 5.9.5, these are the 100 plus commands that it can do. I'd like to know actually, what do you think of the little character that comes up, the little bot? In China, I've seen that it's got little ears. We learned from the Munich event that in China, they love their little characters, so they like to be able to choose the type of character they can have. We were asked whether that would be something we'd be interested in over in Europe. General consensus was no, but if you've got the option to customize it, why not? Some people said, I'd like to feel like I'm just talking to the car. I don't need a character on the screen. But I'd be interested to know what you think. Put down below whether you like the bot as it is, you want a custom version, or no bot at all. So one thing to explain first is that the commands that it understands are quite varied. You can say things in different ways and it knows what you want. For instance, you can say turn on, turn off. You can say activate, deactivate, enable or disable, start or stop. And it understands what all of those mean within the context of what you're asking. So you can vary what you say a little bit, but try to be as natural as possible, talk to it as normal. But I've also found you don't need to have a long sentence. If you can shorten it to a very concise instruction, it does understand better. So that's how I use it, and that's how I will show you in this video, and we can get through them all as quickly as possible. I will be recording some of these later tonight because I need nighttime to show you some of the light activation. One thing to make the Xbot understand you a lot better, and I covered this in my settings video recently, if you go into the settings car icon, go down to voice assistant, if you do the wake word management and sit there and speak to it, it learns how you speak. You can do that with up to 8 different people, so everyone that comes in the car, it will recognize their voice a lot better by doing the wake word management. So that's a definite tip for you. It also will lower the sound of any volume you've got on, any media you've got playing. Once you say, hey Xpeng, it will lower that volume so that it can hear you better. So the louder the music you have on, if you've got max cooling on, max heating, or fan on level 10, then again, the noise in the background is going to confuse it. So try to have background noise at a minimum. And another thing to add is that the car understands where you're sitting. There's microphones placed around the car so it knows when someone speaks from the passenger seat or from the rear seats, left or right, it knows where you are. So from the left rear passenger seat, you could ask for your seat heating to go on without saying the position that you are. So try these different things out, experiment, and just work out what it can do. And I will also say the system isn't perfect by any means. Sometimes I say things that I've said before and it doesn't understand. Maybe that's me, the way I'm speaking, but you have to bear with it sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to break this down into sections, and the first section will be on the AC, air conditioning, heating, cooling, etc. And as I'm sure you know, you don't have to say Hey Xpeng every time. You can also press the voice activation button on the left hand side of the steering wheel and he appears as normal when you say Hey Xpeng. So really up to you, your preference of how you want to do it. I find the steering wheel button a lot easier. So to show you some of these commands, when I'm doing them, I'm going to have the screen set to some of the settings for what I'm doing, and you can actually see things turning on and off or rising up and down. So we're in the AC screen here, and you can see I've got the fans operating all around. Hey Xpeng.
Hi.
Turn off AC.
The air conditioner is turned off.
Okay, so you saw there the power to the AC turned off there. Similarly, AC on.
The air conditioner is turned on.
Fan level 5.
The air volume is set to level 5.
Fan down.
The air volume is turned down.
More.
The air volume is turned up.
Less.
The air volume is turned down.
Fan level 1.
The air volume is set to level 1.
So you see there's various ways to set the fan, raise it, lower it. Since the last update as well, we can now turn off the rear by voice. We never used to be able to do that. So it's currently on, front and rear. Hey Xpeng.
Hi.
Rear AC off.
The rear air conditioner is turned off.
You saw that turn off there. Hey Xpeng.
Hello.
External circulation.
Fresh air mode is turned on.
And hopefully you saw that icon change. Internal circulation.
Recirculation mode is turned on.
So we can change the different circulation modes by voice. Max cooling on.
Max cooling is turned on.
Hopefully you saw that turn blue. Fan goes up to 10. Hopefully you can still hear me. And lowest temperature possible. Max heating. Okay, same with max heating. That button's turned to orange. Fans are on 8. And it's on the highest temperature. Auto heating.
AC auto mode is turned on.
So within AC, we've also got an auto mode that dictates the fan level according to the temperature inside the cabin, and it will alter the temperature accordingly as well. So you saw that raise up now to fan level 9, because it's just sensing the temperature inside and it's changing the fans accordingly. Fan level 1.
The air volume is set to level 1.
And when you change that, auto comes off. One thing I have found out is you can't just have the rear fans on and not the front. So if I turn the rear on, if I try to turn the front off.
Hey.
Turn front fans off.
The front air conditioner is turned off.
You notice it actually turns both off at the same time.
I'm listening.
Rear demist.
Rear defogger is turned on.
You notice that symbol change there. It's got the rear defogger on. Pronounces it defogger.
Rear defogger is turned on.
Which is quite
rear
interesting.
Defogger is turned on.
Rear defog off.
Rear defogger is turned off.
So you notice when I turned it on, I called it demist. When I turned it off, I called it defog, so it understands both of those. You can also say it in another way.
Hello.
Clear front windscreen.
Defogger is turned on.
So you see different ways of saying it, it understands. Defog off.
Defog is off.
We can also change the temperature by voice. So we can either set a temperature or we can ask it to raise it, lower it.
I'm listening.
Set temperature to 24.
Temperature is adjusted.
Lower passenger AC temperature to 20.
Temperature is adjusted.
So you can also do it individually, passenger and driver separately by voice. And if you want to sync them back together.
Hi.
Sync AC.
Temperature synchronization is turned on.
So you can sync them back again. And then if you want to just raise or lower.
Hello.
Lower temperature.
Temperature is turned down.
it will drop that by 2 degrees at a time. Lower temperature.
Temperature is turned down.
Raise temperature.
Temperature is turned up.
More.
Temperature is turned up.
More.
Temperature is turned up.
If you've got the continuous conversation on in the settings for your voice assistant, it will understand the context. So once you've asked it to do something, set a temperature, etc., if you then say more or less, it understands you are talking about the same thing it's already actioned. So that's quite clever. Another thing you can do is just say if you're hot or cold.
Hi.
I'm warm.
Temperature is turned down.
So it understands if you're hot, it's going to drop the temperature. Not sure if that's set to that. If I do it again, will it lower it again? Let's try. I'm warm.
Temperature is turned down. Temperature is turned down.
I'm cold.
Temperature is turned up.
I'm still cold.
Temperature is turned up.
So that's jumping by 4 degrees. Higher.
Temperature is turned up.
Yeah, 4 degrees again. Lower
temperature is set to the highest.
Lower temperature.
Temperature is turned down.
Drop temperature.
Temperature is turned down.
Okay, so various ways you can do that. Now obviously I'm on a G6 facelift model. Some of these instructions will be different with the original models, as that had the AC controllable all by the screen, no manual vents. So you may be able to adjust the rear differently, and the front here you may be able to adjust the direction of the fans like you could in the screen. But obviously the facelift has manual controls, so you can't do any of that. There's a couple of other things in the AC that we can do, and that's these instructions here in the 3 dots menu. So let me show you those.
Hey there.
Air purification on.
Air purification is turned on.
So air purifying, I think, runs for 5 minutes and then will automatically turn off. Air purification off.
Air purification is turned off.
Refresh.
Refresh mode is turned on.
So refresh mode runs the fan at level 10, temperature 18. It also drops the windows by about 10 millimeters, all 4 windows. So any smells inside the car, get them out by saying refresh.
Hey.
Energy saving mode.
AC eco mode is turned on.
So there's a specific energy saving mode for the aircon. When you're perhaps low on battery, run it in that way. May not get as warm as you'd like. Really good if you need to conserve energy. One thing I've found you can't do is change the fan mode here. So I've currently got it on, blowing to my face. You can't change it to lower by voice. You can only do it manually, and the windscreen as well, that won't do that by voice. Not sure why. So let's now go in and look at seat heating and cooling and steering wheel heating. Hey Xpeng.
I'm listening.
Seat heating on.
Driver's seat heating is turned on.
Passenger seat heating level 2.
The seat heating is set to level 2.
Rear left passenger heating level 1.
The seat heating is set to minimum.
Okay, so you see different ways to say it. You can just set it to turn it on. You can tell it which level you want.
Hello.
Close all seat heating.
All seat heating is turned off.
And you can turn it all off in that way. Same with seat ventilation. Hey Xpeng.
Hi there.
Cool my seat.
Driver's seat ventilation is turned on.
So that's location specific. It knows where I'm sitting. You don't need to say where you are. And similarly, if you're in the passenger seat, you can ask it without saying where you are.
Hello.
Passenger seat ventilation 1.
Passenger seat ventilation is set to minimum.
There we go. So that's just on for level 1.
Hey there.
Passenger seat cooling level 3.
Passenger seat ventilation is set to maximum.
Turn off all seat cooling.
The seat ventilation is turned off.
Okay, so again, different ways to say it. Earlier I said close all. This time I said turn it off.
Hello.
Heated steering wheel on.
The steering wheel heating is turned on.
So if you just tell it to turn it on, it's going to turn it on to the max. Alternatively, you can tell it what level you want.
Hello.
Steering wheel heating level 1.
Steering wheel heating is adjusted to level 1.
Steering wheel heating max.
The steering wheel heating is set to maximum.
So it understands max or maximum. Steering wheel heating, minimum.
The steering wheel heating is set to minimum.
And it understands minimum, drops it to level 1. Okay, so that's all the AC heating controls you can do by voice command. So we'll move on to moving the seats with your voice commands. Hey Xpeng,
I'm listening.
move seat backwards.
Driver's seat is adjusted.
Move seat backwards.
Driver's seat is adjusted. Hi.
Move backrest down.
Driver's backrest is adjusted.
More.
Driver's backrest is adjusted.
Lean backrest forward.
Driver's backrest is adjusted.
Lean backrest forward.
Driver's backrest is adjusted.
So there you go. Easy as that. No fiddling with the controls whilst you're driving. Do it by voice. Keep your hands on the wheel at all times. Hey Xpeng,
Hi.
move seat up.
Driver's seat is adjusted.
Move seat up.
Driver's seat is adjusted.
Higher.
Driver's seat is adjusted.
Higher.
Driver's seat is adjusted.
So there you go. You can move the seat up, the seat backwards, and lean the backrest backwards, forwards as well. All the different functions there. One thing you can't do by voice is the lumbar adjustment. And also you can't give it a number. It doesn't recognize a number value for the level that you want to move backwards or forwards, which is a shame because within X combos you can move the seat by a number. So I'm surprised that you can't do that with the voice command as well. And the same if you're sitting in the passenger seat, you can do that as well, or I can move it from here.
Hey.
Raise passenger seat up.
Passenger seat is adjusted.
Move passenger seat forward.
Passenger seat is adjusted.
Lean passenger seat backrest forward.
Passenger backrest is adjusted.
Okay, so you get the idea there. Massage, we've covered a lot in the separate massage video, which I did. I'll put a link up here if you haven't seen that. But again, you can do that by voice. Hey Xpeng,
Hey there.
massage on.
Massage for driver is turned on.
So you don't need to tell it you want it for the driver. Similarly, if the passenger asks for it, they can just say massage on and it knows you're in the passenger seat. You can also, with your voice, change the intensity. So if I say massage intensity level 3, and that's now got really hard into my lower back there. The other thing you can do is the type of massage. The main 6 massage types, you can tell it which one you want on. So if you don't tell it, it just turns on the last one that you had and to the intensity that you had.
Hello.
Massage release stress.
Driver's seat massage is set to target mode.
And that's switched over there. Long haul relax.
Driver's seat massage is set to target mode.
Same again there. Intensity low.
Massage intensity is adjusted to low.
And that changed there. And to turn it off,
Hi there.
massage off.
Massage for driver is turned off.
So really simple. So now on to lights. Hey Xpeng,
Hi there.
headlights on.
Low beam headlights are on.
Side lights on.
Position light is on.
Fog light on.
Rear fog lights are on.
All lights off.
Low beam headlights are off.
High beam on.
High beam does not support voice control. Please operate manually.
Auto lights on.
Automatic headlights are on. Hey there.
Turn on intelligent high beam.
Intelligent high beam is on.
Turn off intelligent high beam.
Intelligent high beam is off.
Auto lights off.
Automatic headlights are off.
So you see there, the only one that it can't do by voice is the high beam. We can also do reading lights. At the moment I've got all 3 on here.
Hey there.
Turn off passenger reading light.
The reading light is turned off.
That's just gone out there. Turn off driver's reading light.
The reading light is turned off.
Turn on rear right passenger reading light.
The reading light is turned on.
Turn on all reading lights.
The reading light is turned on.
Okay, so that's put on 2 rear and the front. And now we come to ambient lights. Turn on ambient lights white.
Ambient light color has been switched.
Change to blue.
Ambient light color has been switched.
How about red?
Ambient light color has been switched.
So you see there, once you start talking about ambient lights, it knows following conversations that you are talking about the ambient lights. So you don't need to add so much in.
Hi.
Ambient light brightness 50%.
Xpeng doesn't know how it works.
So sadly we can't do anything else other than select the one colour. We can't unsync these main and secondary colours, that's the front here and the side doors. We can't change theme or loop or set music rhythm, smooth breathing. You can just set the colour. Okay, for this part I need my phone that's recording up here. I'm going to show you the phone function, so I'm just going to switch the cameras around. We'll only have a view of the screen for this. So I'm just holding the phone for this bit. Hopefully not too shaky.
Hi there.
Open phone app.
Okay.
So as you can see there, we have various recent phone numbers. And we have across the top, we have contacts and we have favourites.
Hello.
Phone contacts.
Okay.
And that automatically brings us into the contacts section. Phone recents.
The page is opened.
Phone favourites.
The page is opened.
So you notice there that it didn't jump across to favourites when I said it. It sounded like it knew what I was saying and did it, but it didn't. This is a new section they've added since the recent update, but it's not jumping across with the voice command, so that needs looking at.
Hi there.
Phone golf club.
The following contact information is found. Which one do you want to call?
So as you can see, I have a lot of golf clubs in my contacts list, so that brings up anything with the words golf club in it. So you can do that with your mate Darren, Paul, whoever. It will bring up all the Pauls in the contacts. Or if you say the full name, you would hope that it would bring up the correct one. You can then dial one of those by pressing, or when it asks you which one, you can say number 1, 2, 3, 4, etc.
Hello.
Phone call.
Okay, who do you want to call?
Benton Hall Golf Club.
Okay.
So that found that contact and dialed it straight away. One thing I would like it to do is, like you can with your mobile phone, if you say something like call Darren mobile or call Darren home, that it would do that, but it can't at the moment, so that would be something quite useful to add. Okay, so now we come on to windows and doors. We can do various things with our voice on the charging port, the boot and windows. So, hey Xpeng.
Hi.
Open charging port.
Charging port is open.
Close charging port.
The charging port cover is closed.
So that does that really easily. And then for the boot, open boot.
Trunk is opening.
There we go. What we can't do is tell it to open the boot to a certain percentage. You can do that in the manual settings in the screen, but you can't do it by voice. It will just open to the preset level.
I'm listening.
Close boot.
Trunk is closing.
And then we come on to the doors. So we can do the child locks by voice, which is really handy.
Hey there.
Rear child locks on.
The door child lock is turned on.
So now if I try and open the rear door, that one doesn't open. And nor does that one. When you press the button, nothing happens. So if I turn the rear left one back on.
Hi there.
Rear left child lock off.
The The door child lock is turned off.
That now opens. So that child lock's now off, that one's still on, or we can turn them all off.
Hey there.
Rear child locks off.
The door child lock is turned off.
Okay, with windows we can open them fully or do part opening.
I'm listening.
Open all windows.
Okay.
Close my window.
Okay.
Open my window halfway.
Okay.
Open it more.
Okay.
Open it 25%.
Okay.
So you see there's various ways to do that. You can obviously close all.
Hey there.
Close all windows.
Okay.
Open all windows 25%.
Okay.
So that's a nice way just to ventilate the car. And obviously anyone sitting in their position can say, open my window, and it will just do their window for them. And then lastly, we have the mirrors. We can fold and unfold them.
Hi there.
Fold mirrors.
The rear view mirrors are folded.
Unfold mirrors.
The rear view mirror is being unfolded.
So nice and easy. Now we come on to the screens, so we can turn screens off, change the brightness, all by voice.
Hey.
Turn off screens.
Screen off.
So that's turn them both off, and you just touch to reactivate. Unfortunately, you can't turn them off individually, but you can lower the brightness individually.
Hey.
Change dashboard screen to 10% brightness.
Dashboard brightness is adjusted.
So you see that went really dark. Dashboard brightness 50%.
Dashboard brightness is adjusted.
More.
Dashboard brightness is turned up.
So that instruction works with that. More.
Dashboard brightness is turned up.
Similarly, front screen you can do individually.
Hello.
Main screen brightness down.
Screen brightness is adjusted.
25%.
Screen brightness is adjusted.
So it knows we were talking about the screen brightness prior. So just saying 25% after or lower will carry on with that same function.
Hi.
Screens brightness 90%.
Screen brightness is adjusted.
So that puts them both up nice and bright. There's also an auto function, so it will automatically set the level of brightness for the daylight available.
Hi there.
Screen's brightness auto.
Screen auto brightness is on.
So that's made this really dark because of the amount of daylight I've got
Screen
coming in.
brightness is adjusted. Hello.
Dashboard brightness auto.
The automatic brightness adjustment of the instrument is turned on.
Okay, so that's made them both quite dark for the amount of daylight in the car here. So it's just important to get the terminology right. This is the dashboard screen, and this is the main screen or touch screen.
I'm listening.
All screens brightness 100%.
The screen has been adjusted to the brightest setting for you.
Or you can do them all at once like that. Another thing you can do with your voice with the screens is change the mode to auto, day or night. So currently on auto, so we can say, hey Xpeng,
Hi.
night mode.
Night mode is on.
Then they both switch to the dark theme. Day mode.
Day mode is on.
Night mode.
Night mode is on.
Auto mode.
The display theme is switched to automatic mode.
So that's different to the touchscreen brightness being set to auto. Another thing you can do is turn the screens off and your external lights off all at once. Obviously you can't see the external lights when I do this, but it's called standby mode.
Hi.
Standby mode.
Okay.
So it's like standby mode for your TV. Fans are still on, but it turns off the screens and the outside lights. And to reactivate, you just touch. And then also you can turn the screen onto cleaning mode. So when you want to clean all the fingerprints off, you have to touch it. You don't want it to reactivate. So you can put it in screen cleaning mode.
I'm listening.
Screen cleaning mode.
Okay.
So that does that. You can see I've got lots of fingerprints on there. So let's get a wipe. Give that a good clean while we're here. Okay, to get out of screen cleaning mode, you just press and hold the screen for 3 seconds and that comes back into life. So now we come on to the media. So there's a lot we can control here. We can open the majority of the apps with our voice. So we can say, hey Xpeng.
Hi.
Open YouTube.
Please operate manually.
Okay. So from there, you would need to touch the screen. It just opens up. And we can do that with pretty much any of the apps here. I'll tell you the apps that it won't open with your voice, and they are the browser, Instagram, music, weirdly enough, then wired casting, Xcombo, Xsleep, and Xplay. So settings, you can't just open it by saying settings, you have to call it car settings, if I show you what I mean.
Hello.
Open settings.
The current model doesn't come with this feature.
But if we say open car settings,
okay,
then it knows what you mean. So you just got to get that wording right. And then within settings, you can open up any section with your voice again. So if I jump back out and then say,
I'm listening.
Open light settings.
Okay.
Then it opens up and jumps to that particular section. So a lot of these, when you open them up, you then have to operate manually, like Instagram, like Prime Video, like TikTok, YouTube. There are others you can do more within the app with your voice. So I'll run through those. And we'll start with all the music apps. Radio is another one that it doesn't seem to understand.
Hello.
Open radio.
Okay.
So instead of opening the radio app, it actually just starts playing the music. What I wanted it to do was just open the app like that. So that's a bit of an odd one. But once you're in here, or if you're not in here, you can do certain things with your voice in the radio section. Now what I find is if you're asking it to find a station, if you ask it for Talk Sport, the fact there's a Talk Sport 2 as well, it gets confused, same as Kiss FM, where it has lots of other variations like Kiss Dance and Kiss R&B. It does get confused, so it will handle something simple like LBC.
Hi.
Change station to LBC. Okay, and we can see on the screen here, it's opened up that particular station. But if I say,
hey,
change station to Talk Sport. You can see it's actually opened up Talk Sport 2. So it does get confused with lots of stations with similar names. Open LBC on the radio. So that understood 2 commands, open the radio and the station in the same command. So if we move on from there to either Spotify or Bluetooth music.
I'm listening.
Play Spotify.
Okay.
I just have to mute that so I don't get a copyright strike. So that's opened up Spotify. It's my son's account, so all sorts of his music on there. You can ask it to play certain artists or a certain song, but it's not particularly good at the moment at picking out the right one. It does get confused quite a lot, just so you know that.
Hello.
Open Bluetooth music.
Please connect Bluetooth first.
So my phone is currently recording here, which is why it can't connect, but that does connect fine. And same thing, if you ask it to play certain artists or tracks, it finds some, not all of them. Okay, so just be aware of that. The other thing we can do is move between tracks. So you can say,
hi,
play next.
Playing the next one.
And then that moves across to the next track in the list on your playlist. Previous.
Playing the previous one.
And it doesn't understand previous. It says it's going to. It thinks it understands and it says it's going to play the previous, but it doesn't actually change. This is on Spotify. I've tried it on Bluetooth music as well. It doesn't do it there either. So that's a shame. What it can do on your radio stations, if you say play next or previous, it will jump across your radio stations. That's normally alphabetical. If you're on the radio app and you select favorites, and for instance, let's select Kiss Dance. I'll just mute that again. If I say play next, will it jump to BBC Radio 1 Dance, or will it go alphabetical? Let's have a look.
Hey there.
Next.
Playing the next one.
Okay, so that's better. That never used to do that. That may have been sorted out in the latest update. Let's try that again. Play next.
Playing the next one.
That's jumped across to 5 Live. Play previous.
Playing the previous one.
Okay, so that does work. Next, previous, stations, that works great. Then we have the various volume controls.
Hello.
Volume level 6.
The media volume is set to 6.
Volume down.
Media volume is turned down.
Volume up.
Media volume is turned up.
Volume level 10.
The media volume is set to 10.
Volume off.
Media volume is muted.
Okay, so you can set a number. I think it's 1 to 30. You can tell it to go up or down, and you can tell it to turn off the music or mute or pause, does the same thing. When you tell the music to go up or down, increase or decrease, any of those phrases, it will jump in 3 level intervals. So as I say, it's 1 to 30, so it will jump up in 3s or down in 3s, or just pick the level by number. Talking of volume, if I go to the sounds settings and just show you, we've got various volume levels here. Media volume is currently off. I'll just show you how they change with your voice. So media volume level 5.
The media volume is set to 5.
As I say, it's 1 to 30. Voice volume 10.
The voice volume is set to 10.
So this is the voice volume for the Xbot. Voice volume 20.
The voice volume is set to 20.
Lower voice volume.
Voice volume is turned down.
Lower voice volume more.
Voice volume is turned down.
Navigation volume level 5.
The navigation volume is set to 5.
So that's the sound of the navigation instructions that you receive through the car or through your headrest. Navigation volume 15.
The navigation volume is set to 15.
Call volume 5.
The call volume is set to 5.
Call volume higher.
The call volume is turned up.
Raise call volume.
The call volume is turned up.
Okay, so again, different ways to say the same thing. Now the last one, it doesn't seem to adjust at all.
I'm listening.
Ringtone volume level 5.
The voice volume is set to 5.
Phone ringtone volume level 5.
The voice volume is already set.
Yeah, so it doesn't understand that, the ringtone volume. Since the last update, there's better calendar integration. So let's see if we can do that.
Hello.
Open calendar.
Okay.
So my calendar has synced to the car here, and it shows you today's appointments, tomorrow's appointments, Monday's appointments. It shows you 3 days of appointments. And if you click on each one, that opens it up and gives you a bit more detail. So whichever screen you're in, you can also ask it, what's my calendar for the next 3 days?
Give me a moment to think about it. You have 15 events starting from 9 a.m. today and ending at 9 p.m. on August 17th. There are 5 in the morning, 5 in the afternoon, and 5 at night. So
it gives you a summary, and you can ask it for today, tomorrow, or, as I say, the next 3 days.
Hey there.
What's my diary for today?
That's a good question. You have 9 events, starting from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., then 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m.
and so on and so on. So that could be useful to you if you're using it for work and you just have your work appointments in there. And to sync your calendar up to the car, you do that in the Xpeng app. Okay, now on to navigation.
Hi there.
Open navigation.
Okay.
Take me to work.
I will guide you soon. I found 3 routes for you. Please choose one.
So very easy to use your voice to go to navigation, to home and to work, which are preset in the system there. So you enter your home and work into the system here.
Hi there.
Exit navigation.
Navigation exited.
If you have a journey in there and you get into trouble, either into roadworks or an accident, you can then refresh the journey as well.
Hey there.
Refresh journey.
The optimal route has been refreshed for you.
So that looks at the situation and will reroute for you. And now the system, since the last update, has Google search, so it will search for businesses a lot better than it used to. Take me to the nearest cafe.
Okay, which one do you want to go?
So you see here it has a Google rating, and you can press on those and you can click and scroll through images, customer images that have posted Google reviews.
Hi there.
Find the nearest jewelers.
Okay, which one do you want to go? I'm listening.
Where's the best suit shop in Essex?
Okay. Which one do you want to go?
So there's a few examples, things you can do, ways you can ask the system.
Hi.
Where's the nearest charging station?
Okay, one location found. Go by navigation.
So that's really useful again if you need to find a charging stop if you're getting low. So now we come on to car settings, things you can change with your voice.
Hello.
Turn on Sentry mode.
Sentry mode will consume additional battery. Do you want to continue?
Yes.
Sentry mode is turned on.
Sentry mode off.
Sentry mode is turned off. Hi there.
Turn off Bluetooth.
Bluetooth is turned off.
Turn off Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi is turned off.
Turn on Hotspot.
The car hotspot is turned on.
Turn off charging pad.
Wireless charging is already turned off for the driver's seat.
Turn on passenger charging pad.
Wireless charging is already turned on for the passenger's seat.
Turn on driver wireless charging.
Wireless charging is already turned on for the driver's seat.
So then we come on to some of the drive settings you can do with your voice. You can select your driving mode.
Hi there.
Change to sport mode.
The sport mode is turned on.
Open drive settings.
Okay.
So we can see the default sport mode settings there. We can change the power steering.
I'm listening.
Change power steering to light.
Power steering is set to light.
Change brake pedal feel to normal.
Our car doesn't have this feature yet.
So you can't change the brake pedal feel, unfortunately. Change regeneration to high.
The energy regeneration is set to high level.
Disable regeneration.
Energy regeneration cannot be turned off when stop mode is active.
Turn regeneration off.
Energy regeneration is turned off.
Okay, so there's quite a few things there you can alter by voice, except brake pedal feel. Drive mode, individual.
Individual mode is turned on. Hello.
Launch mode on.
Launch mode needs to be used in a closed venue and special attention must be paid to driving safety. Are you sure you want to turn it on?
Yes.
The launch mode is turned on.
So you can do launch mode as well as sport. Turn
The
that
launch
off.
mode is turned on.
Go back to my setting of individual. Then we can control the cameras. So
I'm listening.
open 360 cameras.
Camera is on.
So that gives us all those views. Front camera.
Front camera is on.
Rear camera.
Rear camera is on.
So we can choose any of those views that we want, which is really good.
Hey.
Turn cameras off.
Camera is off.
And a couple of other things we can do.
I'm listening.
Check my tyre pressures.
The tyre pressure values are all within a safe range.
What's my mileage?
The total mileage is 10,312 kilometers.
Obviously I asked it for mileage. I'm all set up to do miles, but it still gives me the answer in kilometres, which is a bug we all know about that they need to fix soon. And I will just show you this as well. I think this is probably the last Since the last update, they have put a little bit of AI interaction into the voice assistant, so we can ask it things like the weather.
Hi there.
What's the weather going to be like today?
Give me a moment to think about it. Which city's weather would you like to check? Please tell me the city name and try again.
Chelmsford.
Well then, I'll have to look up some info. Today in Chelmsford, the weather is mostly cloudy with a high of 26 degrees and a low of 16 degrees Celsius. There's about a 32% chance of light rain, so you might want to keep an umbrella handy, just in case.
Rain? Are you sure? We've got a drought on.
I'm listening.
What's the weather going to be in Essex next week?
Sure, I'll check it for you. Here's the weather forecast for Essex for the next week. Starting from August 16th. On Sunday, expect thunderstorms with highs around 25 degrees and very high rainfall.
Well, that was quite detailed for the whole week. So that's really good. That's a little insight, I think, into what we can get in the future when they improve the voice assistant with more AI and internet access. So pretty comprehensive. That's the biggest list or details of voice commands anywhere on the internet right now. It's taken me quite a while to research that, delve into the system, find out all the things that it can and can't do. So I hope you appreciate that, and just give me a like, drop a comment below. Any other commands you might have found that I haven't covered, let me know what they are. I'll produce a full list of all these commands and I'll publish them on the Facebook group for the Xpeng G6 UK owners. There was an old list on there, but that's now out of date with all the updates. Have a look below in the description for various links on the Facebook group, discounts off accessories. There's a discount code there exclusive to my channel. There's accessory links there for your memory stick, for screen wipes, for granny chargers, special sockets for your granny chargers so they don't overheat, all sorts of things. So have a look there. So please subscribe, turn alerts on so you get notified of the next video that will be coming out soon. I'm trying to upload every 2 or 3 days. So I'll hand over to Xbot for the outro.
Michael and I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the Xplore Xpeng channel, and if you turn on alerts you'll be notified when we upload the next video. Thank you for watching. We'll both see you in the next video.
Cheers, bye bye.